Welcome to the Business Boys Talkin-Business Virtual Power Lunch. Please welcome your hosts, Tyler Price and Brian Magleby.
We're back.
Welcome.
Hey, nice. That backdrop is like yesterday, only we had more snow. And
Yes.
It's springtime.
Yeah, flurries. I couldn't even see across the road at the Innovation Center yesterday.
I swore a few times, but
I might have sworn.
Yeah.
Bishop, don't do that. So welcome to Talkin-Business. I'm Brian Magleby with the Idaho Innovation Center.
And I'm Tyler Price with the Small Business Development Center.
And welcome to the show today. We're excited as always. We've got a great background there. We got a lot of mountains in a lot of our scenery. So we're starting to think spring and summer. Hopefully that'll be the last snowfall of the year. So
don't count on it.
Don't count on it. Welcome to Eastern Idaho. So hey, let's wrap up last week's show. We had Tom Larson on.
Yeah.
And man,
that guy knows what he's doing. And I'll just say, anybody that's interested in being in cybersecurity type stuff, that it is a real industry to look at.
It is a field of the future. We learned that, and it's not going away. It was a great discussion with Tom. If you haven't watched it, go into the library there and watch it. It was a great. If you think that you're beyond getting the word of the last week was hacked.
Yep.
And I don't think he likes that word, but it was absolutely, everyone has the option of it. And if you want to stop and listen to the points that we came out with last week of how to stop being hacked on it.
And even passwords, which I hate because you're always having to change them.
Yep.
Anyway, but great information and really knowledgeable guys. So.
Everybody needs that. Let's talk about the classes that we have coming up. Starting in less than a week, QuickBooks.
QuickBooks, yeah. If you need QuickBooks, we got that class coming up with someone that knows a little bit about QuickBooks. We'll be talking to him.
It's going to be on the end of the show today, so that's going to be exciting. Here's the brochure, the flyer for it. Starts next Monday. It runs in Monday and Wednesday evenings. It's our only class that runs in the evenings, and some 6 to 9 on Mondays and Wednesdays for 5. There's 5 days of the class. So it's the dates are right there. To register is on there, or you can call the Innovation Center at the number below, and they can get you the link to it. The class is $199, but hey, if you're watching today, you can get that at a discounted price. There's going to be some trivia questions at the end, so we're going to be giving away 2 $50 certificates today, and you got to answer some trivia questions at the end. But this class is absolutely phenomenal. I'll talk about it in his segment of how great of reviews that he has for the 5 or 6 classes that he's previously taught. Unbelievable the feedback from this class. So if your business uses QuickBooks, it doesn't matter your level of beginning or intermediate, or if you're advanced, there's still some questions that he can answer, and he's absolutely a genius when it comes to this.
Yeah, and then we have the Elevate series coming, and I've taken that class from you. It was been a few years, and you'll be teaching that, I'm assuming.
I will.
That correct?
And it's we've kind of slimmed the course down to just some really core things. Elevator pitches. Whenever you go out and present your business, you're gonna need to know an elevator pitch, and we refine those all 4 weeks of the class. Mission and vision statements, goals and sales strategies, and a USP, unique selling propositions. We're going to be going through and having worksheets on each one of those. It happens the 4 Wednesdays in May. And the class is from 1:30 to 3. If you need it via Zoom, if you're out of the region and would like to participate on it, we can facilitate that. It's 6 hours of training, and it's only $99. And it's going to be an absolutely phenomenal course. I've been putting together the stuff for the last couple of weeks, and I'm excited to talk about these things, because I know it's what it takes for every business to be successful. Is you have to have these kind of basic core things, and that's what we're calling it as a cornerstone class. So
no, and I think, Brian, you're a great person to be able to teach this class. You've had a lot of success in business, and this is for someone that's either starting out in business or even seasoned. Yesterday, we sat down with a couple guys that are seasoned veterans in business, very successful.
Very, very successful.
And just gave some more eyeballs on what they got going on, right?
Yep.
Just something that we do with the SBDC. But this Elevate Your Business, having gone through this course, I can't recommend it enough.
Great. Yeah, so the registration there is on there again, but you can call the Innovation Center, and we can email you this the flyer, so you have the direct link to get registered for it. It starts next Wednesday, So get ready for that. Elevate your business.
All right.
So hey,
Are we ready for our
we
guest?
are ready for
Oh my gosh.
our first guest.
Yeah.
Mr. Will Jenson is here from the Research and Business Development Center, RBDC.
Yeah, well, it's great that you knew what the R stood for because I didn't.
So there it is. It
Will
reminds
was
us.
here to be able to set it all straight.
So we've got Will Jenson with the RBDC, and I'll tell you, this is a thing that he puts together. Is it monthly?
You know, we've been doing it about every other week.
Yeah.
Every
We try
other
to
week.
get a couple out each month.
This is a 40-page document, and I'll just kind of flip through it here, but I mean, it's got charts, graphs of all these things, and we're going to go through some of the, we asked him kind of to slim down his 40 plus slides down to 10, and we're going to go through those today and talked with him. But if you haven't read this report, every time I look at it, it just blows me away of the where they could get all this information that's in there, and how valuable it is for businesses to have this information. So Will, kind of talk to us about why did you put this report together?
Really, there was a lack of information that was needed, right? I mean, there's so much information out there, but none of it's really real time. I mean, there's a lot of government data sources for data that can help guide business decisions, but it's usually old. It's like 6 months old or 9 months or a year
older,
old.
yeah.
And almost none of it is down to a county level. I mean, you can get unemployment rates, labor market information, something that's usually available on a monthly basis, but even that's a month old, and when you're trying to make decisions today about stuff that's happening today, you've got to have real-time data. And so we started doing that. We also started using some social media resources and doing polls and things like that. Yeah. And we were able to open up a vault of information that just wasn't out there before.
Part of what I really like about it is I think, because you're an economist, that's what you studied in school. But I think a lot of times that economists are hindsight people, and they're always got perfect vision.
Yeah.
But it's like, who cares? Because where we're at now. So that's one thing I'm going to say that I really appreciate and admire about you is that you're looking not just real-time data, but how is that applicable, and how do we attack? Because there's some, and I'm sure we're going to go through some of the slides.
Yeah, I'll go through some.
But if you look at even the airport, I mean, that was like, wow, when you look at where numbers fell to and how do they get that back, how do they solve that problem, and part of it, is just getting through COVID a little bit further. But what are some of the slides, or what's some of the data that you look forward to seeing each time?
So I'm interested in household consumer confidence, consumer decision making, like what's going on in the minds of households and people that are actually trying to make a living and make ends meet. And I know they're the ones that are going in and out of stores and buying groceries and going shopping and trying to decide how to use their budget in kind of uncertain times, right? So I'm really interested in consumer spending and consumer confidence. And consumer confidence is a huge factor in our economy and how well our economy does. In this part of the world, in this part of Idaho in particular, in this time of year, we're going to start looking at tourism. Because that brings a lot of dollars to the area. Right. So I'm curious about tourism. I'm curious about the housing industry. So those are the kind of the three areas that I wanted to cover today, and kind of roll back the curtain a little bit and show you some of the things that we've been collecting on those three topics. Because who hasn't had a conversation in the last week about home prices?
Yeah. Oh man, right? I think it's at every dinner table. So.
Every dinner table. Anytime it's like, well, we talk about the weather, but why do we want to talk about the weather? It snowed again, right?
Yeah. Everybody wants to sell their house, but then they have to go somewhere or build, and the prices to build. I mean, there's people getting upset on Facebook the other day because they found 3 sheets of plywood and they're trying to get $100 for it.
I saw that
they
too.
paid like $10 for it, but it's a supply and demand type deal.
Is.
So
yeah, and it impacts everyone, especially if you are in that transition period. I'd hate to be graduating from college right now and go from a college student income or no income to trying to afford housing anywhere in the country. This isn't just an Idaho issue, but it's a little bit bigger issue in Idaho just because we're one of the states that are growing the fastest. So that puts pressure on our housing market.
And I've seen that with a friend that was working for Ford Motor Company in Michigan, sold his house, was super happy getting transferred to Portland, went to Portland and is like, what? You know, they can't find a place to live. Well, they already sold their house, so it's not optional now. They got to move. And anyway, so it's like you said, it's not just Eastern Idaho. It's a national deal.
It is a national deal, and the ripple effects kind of they keep going on and on, right? So this impacts major employers in the area. They're trying to attract talent. They may have talent that wants to come here, wants to live here. They're looking at our historically low cost of living, and then they start looking at new housing availability, and it's a different story. You know, once they start looking into it a little bit more.
So people need to start saying, I want to live in a van then, is what?
Down by the river.
Down by the river.
We got a great river here.
We got a great place for that.
We got some rivers to choose.
So let's start out with the kind of, put the slides up there, and let's start talking about this one. The first slide that we have, you want to click to the next one?
Yeah, we'll go to the next one.
There we go.
So yeah, this one's talking a little bit about consumer confidence. So if you can look at this, the everything from the middle of these bars up is usually showing more confidence. So you can see the yellow and blue there. Those are either some confidence or very confident. So if they're in that category, then things are going pretty well, you know, in their neighborhood, right? And it is interesting to look at this, and I tell people all the time that Idaho, all of the counties in Idaho have different economies.
Yes, they do. That explains it right there, where you got, I mean, most of them are all eastern Idaho, but then you got one northern Idaho in there, and look at the difference in it.
Yeah, and just looking at, you know, Blackfoot's on the far left, Rigby's on the far right. Totally different outlooks on how confident.
And in Rigby, I don't know where are the people in Rigby? There's absolutely none people in the semi-confident, semi-nervous, or semi-confident. There's absolutely no one in Rigby that's semi-confident. But look at the Blackfoot and Idaho Falls there. The people that are semi-confident, that's a great thing versus the northern Idaho.
Yep.
Most of the people up in northern Idaho are pretty not sure about things, obviously.
Pretty unsure. So that's consumer confidence. I talked about tourism. You know, last year, the very end of last year, we started seeing tourism return to the area, and Yellowstone Park visitation was at record levels towards the end of their season. The beginning of the season, far different story, right?
Closed down.
So it'll be very interesting to see what happens this year. Now, there's still going to be a lot of people traveling locally, right? Staycations and things like that. We'll see what happens with foreign visitors, especially visitors from Asia. But if you look at airport passenger counts, let me get my head out of the way a little bit there. Idaho Falls did well relatively, right? A 42%
least
drop.
affected, so.
Least affected out of these kind of peer airports. Pocatello was hit hardest out of this list anyways, 55% decrease. I'm sure that impacts them. It shows a little bit of, you know, what's going on in the business world too, because a lot of the flights in and out of Idaho Falls are business travelers, site workers and things like that. So there's a lot of impact there. And you can also see the big difference in the sheer number of passengers going between these different cities. I had no idea that Idaho Falls was so large in comparison to Pocatello when it comes to passenger air travel. So when we see a big decrease here, that impacts us. It impacts the hotels. I've talked to hotel chain owners in the area. Boy, they saw it. The business travelers did not return last year like they were hoping they would. So hopefully that comes back this year.
Yeah, very good. So that's a great thing for businesses here in eastern Idaho. So.
Should we look at some other ones?
Let's go on to the next one.
Keep going.
This may be a hard one to read, but it's really amazing detail.
And people can go on the RDC's
RBDC.
See, I messed it up.
Yeah, we've got it at the very end. We've got this
website.
contact information at the very end. So stay tuned, and you'll be able to see where you can go get these.
Yeah, so this is looking at housing inventory, and you can see all of these states were in the same mess, right? The housing inventory is really low. And but Idaho is second lowest amount of listings.
These are all the states right around Idaho. I like how you did this, And we're the second lowest. There, is that what we are? Is the Idaho's the second lowest? Or it's, I mean, I don't think you could really tell by where it's at really in January there.
Yep.
So
second lowest. So all of these states are in the same boat. You can see all the seasonality here, but the seasonality is getting a little bit squashed by just the fact that we've got way lower number of listings than you normally would have in these kind of seasonally low time periods.
yeah.
So that'll actually make, the statistician in me looks at that and says, boy, it'll be really hard to do seasonal adjustments going forward if this persists.
Yeah.
Because you look at normal trends in seasonality and you use those to really show the real increase or the real decrease in listings. But when you have statistical anomalies like what we're seeing now, it kind of throws those models off.
This is amazing. So.
Housing inventory, this is kind of the same data, just sliced and diced a little bit differently. So you can see Idaho had a 79% decrease in housing inventory compared to February.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Very big decrease.
Yeah.
When you look at listing price, everything's trending upwards. Idaho's kind of middle of the pack, but had some of the sharpest increase. And it's showing up, a really strong increase in listing price. Here's kind of the same numbers sliced a little bit differently. So Idaho's the third one from the top here, and comparing February's 2021 median home price or listing price back to February 2017.
87% increase.
87% increase.
That is amazing. From 2017 to 2021, that is absolutely phenomenal, and we're seeing it, and it's prevalent out there in the in the community, and like we said, everyone's talking about it, and these are some of the effects that's coming from the all the COVID that's happening, and I think that businesses need to understand this in order to really understand who their customers are, and we're going to get in and talk about where the people are coming from as well. But this is, I mean, absolutely, this one blew me away, and this one does too.
Yeah, so. The median days on the market, which actually I look at this one and I think we probably could get a different story from realtors if you were to ask a realtor right now, what are the number of days on the market for a house?
Yep.
I know a house just next to mine went up for sale. And I talked to the person that was buying that house, and they said they actually were notified before it went on the market.
Oh, wow.
And they were ready and were putting in an offer as soon as it went up.
Yeah.
And so the days on the market, I guess, if you could say they're negative.
Negative,
right now.
could be, and multiple offers for they're going for even higher. So.
Yeah.
So, but this is unbelievable to see the how aggressive it is out there right now.
Super aggressive. Yeah. Now, this is cool. So we've been trying for a long time to get driver's license data from Idaho Transportation Department. It took a while, but we were able to get it. And this actually helps us understand a little bit of the demographics of people that are moving into Idaho, which isn't really available in other ways.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, when someone moves into Idaho, they bring their driver's license to the DMV and they go and swap it out. They surrender it. Well, you get a wealth of information off of that. You know where the person came from and how old they were. So a little bit of demographics, and there's other information there too that they can look at. And you can do that down to city and county levels, but we're just looking at the state in these numbers.
I was in looking at these numbers, I was thinking that it was just the older people that were moving out of California, and we'll show you the different states here in a second. But look at the ages. The highest numbers there that increased was in 21 to 40, both those categories, 21 to 30 and 30 to 40. Look at the increases.
Big increases.
That those have. That's great for this area, for businesses to know that younger people are moving here.
Yeah.
And this one I loved that there's people of that age moving here, and that's unbelievable data for businesses here. That's exciting because businesses are going to have more of a younger pool of people to get from. So
and it's been kind of this common, I don't know if it's a myth, but I hear people say younger people are going after these larger incomes in more metropolitan areas, and there's probably some truth to that.
Yeah.
But I think there's also a lot of evidence that younger people are moving to places that have a lot of natural amenities and quality of life. And that's a kind of an economic development tool in itself. Attracting that that younger workforce, we need it. In fact, this goes back a ways, but when I was an economist for the Department of Labor, I did some research on replacement rates of workers that are ready to retire and how many workers there are to fill their seats, right? And Idaho had real trouble with this. It was interesting because when you looked at the number of age 45 and older workers and compared it to those that were in that kind of 20 to 40 age group, it used to be that we had a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2 younger workers for every 1 older worker. And the last time I looked at that, it's been a few years, but that ratio had dropped, so it was now a 1-to-1 ratio. So basically nobody could retire or leave the workforce early and expect to have someone
to replace them.
Wow. So we needed those younger workers just to maintain a healthy labor market. Because it's true, that age group 45 and older, there's lots of reasons why people may leave early from the workforce through health issues or their own choice to retire early or those kinds of things. We need to have those replacement workers, so this is promising for Idaho's economy.
This is, and I think that another thing that I see from this is that people that are working remote now, that how the lifestyle of some businesses have changed, that how many people are able to work from home. And these younger families probably are choosing these areas where we have such great recreational opportunities. That why live in a big city, and when you can live, in this area with the beautiful backgrounds like we have here today, and be working from home. And I bet you that's a reason why some of these younger people are moving here.
I think so.
So, have you been a part of or looked at? If we look at business office space, so not retail space, but business office space specifically, that if businesses get away from renting that space, which I think could potentially happen, I mean, that's a whole big mess in and of itself, because that's a lot of valuable real estate then that could potentially, it's not going to completely go away, but it could potentially go down to a significant number that, man, what do you do with that space at that point?
Possible,
but is there any studies on that? I mean, that maybe isn't a pain point quite yet.
I don't think it's a pain point yet, especially here where we're seeing so much population growth. There's still demand for those smaller office spaces. And it'll be interesting to see how many, it could be that some of these larger businesses set up satellite offices in places like eastern Idaho, and that type of real estate is in high demand still.
Right.
It's quite possible for that. And it's been interesting because as at the RBDC, as we have adjusted to COVID and we started doing things more from home and our teams are all online, we've had a year of experience in that category, right, working from home, and we're starting to see reasons why we'd still want to be meeting in person.
Yes.
We still need that office space and that one-on-one, face-to-face interaction. It's still really important.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting to watch nationally as companies kind of understand the real costs and benefits associated from telecommuting in a grander, across the board way. There may be some reasons why that office space becomes even more.
But it almost seems like they could shuffle, like have A/B schedules, right? So these people are in this space, so they could realistically shrink their office footprint down to a quarter to half of what, and that's a significant savings for any business.
Yeah.
So I got a question that really probably digresses from anything, but that's kind of what I do, I guess. But,
We're famous for, you're famous for that.
Okay, so our government keeps sending out these checks to people. When they do that, I think their thought behind it is, hey, it's gonna help the economy. Doing that, does that even put a blip on any of the stuff that you're studying?
Yeah, it does. So it does help consumer confidence, right? If you, let's say you had 3 kids, married, filing jointly, you just got a $7,000 check from the government. That's a pretty good pad in the bank account, right? And that adds to consumer confidence. It adds to household wealth. And that wealth effect, economists talk about that and how it is crucial to stimulate people to go out and buy, right? And we're definitely seeing that, especially in these, it's also a windfall, right? They've just won the lottery too. And so you spend those dollars a little bit differently than you would something that you earned. And so you probably would go out and buy something that we maybe normally wouldn't buy.
Campers, four-wheelers.
Campers, four-wheelers, all of those
razors.
things, definitely, those kinds of items, which if you stop by Action Motorsports or Rexburg Motorsports,
There's
any
not
of
much
these places,
inventory.
the floor's vacant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
got bought, and they still got supply chain issues
Yeah.
that make it hard to replace those machines when they sell them. But some of that's also going to go into savings. You know, we talk about the marginal propensity to save and marginal propensity to consume, which is just like what percentage of your disposable income are you going to spend or save?
Yeah.
And savings are good. We've had, you know, a long period of time here where people were spending way above their income limits, and I hope that people choose to save some of that, but for the sake of the economy, it's good to spend it too.
Businesses, if you're hearing this, there's great words of advice there.
Yeah, but you know, the other question you have is what is this going to do to inflation?
Yeah.
And that'll be a factor.
We're going to see that. So
if money, you go to a place like Zimbabwe, right? And I went to Zimbabwe back in 2002, December 2002. Back then, it was the exchange rate for $1 American dollar to a Zimbabwe dollar was about 1 to 1,700, 1,800 Zimbabwe dollars. But then fast forward a few more years, and they were printing $100 trillion bills that would not buy a tomato, right? So they are a really good lesson on hyperinflation.
Yeah.
One way to do that is increase your money supply too rapidly. And if you do that, if you increase money supply faster than you can increase production on goods and services, you're going to create inflation. And we're seeing it in home prices. The only thing that we'll see some relief from in home values and home prices is if we start increasing interest rates and put some down pressure on those home prices.
These are some things that's coming. So let's get through the another one here. So we're getting a little short of time here. So let's
do one more.
Yep. Where are people coming from?
What do you guys think?
I thought California.
This is the other. This is the other topic that it's weather, home prices, and then how many people are coming in from California.
And just so you Californians know, there's a lot of people that aren't too happy about that. I'm not one of them. I'm good with whatever, but you better behave yourself because
that's right.
People do carry guns here where they don't in California.
That's right.
That's true.
But look at that. It's interesting. California, Washington, Oregon, and Utah moving to Idaho. Wow, that's interesting factors there.
Yeah, and California is, what is it, almost double? It's more than double what the next, or exactly double, I guess, what the next closest competitor is as far as where people are moving from.
32 to 16, so that's a lot, and it's interesting that's where people come. And I've heard of a lot of people from even New York and those people moving out here too, but they didn't show up there. But California and Washington. So welcome to Idaho.
Yeah, more than almost half of the move-ins came from those two states.
Yep. So quickly talk about what some of the projects you have at the RBDC in Rexburg. So
we have a wide variety of projects. Our clients there come from all over the country now.
Wow.
We're doing engineering research, we're doing business research, we're doing economic studies like this one that we get a lot of press coverage on. We've had a few news stories written about these economic reports that we're putting out. We have more students now than we've ever had. I mean, we had a really interesting increase right when COVID started last March. We moved into the spring semester, as we call it, at BYU-Idaho. And that's where most of our students are coming from. We had a huge surge of students back then, but we're still getting a lot now. I mean, we're serving almost, it's right around 1,000 students a year.
Wow.
They come through our doors and gain internship experience.
Yeah. No, and you guys do phenomenal work. I know I've done a few projects, or you've done a few projects for me, and it's just those kids just are amazing. Have to tell you. I mean, they got great leadership in you and some of the other guys that are helping with that, but they just do amazing stuff. Yeah,
we like to please the customers and the students. They're motivated. They're excited to get out and really cut their teeth on real-world experience.
And kind of what's a range of the pricing to do some of these research projects to help businesses?
Usually anywhere from $400 to $4,000 roughly is just kind of the ballpark.
And all I can tell you is that every company that I've heard from that's done that, the feedback and the results that they get, the content of stuff is just, not only is it quality content, but there's just tons of it, and that's absolutely phenomenal. So RBDC.
That's correct.
The Research and Business Development Center.
Messed it up.
I almost said Rexburg there because that's what he was thinking it was earlier. So good, Tyler. I mean, Will, is there anything else that you kind of wanted to share with us any of the data that you can come? I just have to say you're a genius when it comes to this information, and I hope that the businesses pay attention and look at all of the ones. This is only a small chunk of what's available in that 48 page, I think. Document that's absolutely phenomenal for business. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with us?
I don't think so. I mean, please go onto our website. You can check out those past reports. We've got dozens of them now, dozens and dozens of these past reports that we have available. So if there's other topics or you want to look at...
There's the website. There's the phone number. Slide your head the other way. There you go. RBDC Center. RBD Center. There you go. Point at it right there. 356-5009.
Wow, that's hard. That's a talent.
Geez, that's a talent there. I could never do that.
Never do that.
So, and then there's info at rbdcenter.org. There's a little details on them, and absolutely encourage you to go look up that report. It's absolutely, it'll blow you away. Every time I look at it, it's got great information. Yeah. Will, thank you for being with us today. Share with us this final quote that we end every show with.
Yeah, so I like this quote. You know, I'm a strong advocate for education and training employees, you know, and there's a lot of ways to train employees, and leadership training is super, super important with employees. Get them to grow and develop more. But this is from Henry Ford. I like this one a lot. The only thing worse than training your employees and having them leave is not training them, having them stay.
Yeah.
So
absolutely crucial. Once again, valuable information for businesses here. So thank you, Will Jenson, for being here as a guest on our show. And I encourage you to reach out and see that the complete report there, and utilize it in the business decisions that you make. So at the beginning of the show, we didn't mention all of our sponsors.
We got amazing sponsors that we forget about, and these guys, BBSI being our main sponsor, right?
Yes.
If you got HR needs, if you need training, if you need payroll, I mean, these guys are they're amazing.
Great here, and they cover all of Eastern Idaho. Andex, what a production facility these guys are putting on. They knock it out of the park every month. Aaron does a great job, and Haley, they're just phenomenal here. The Idaho Innovation Center, Vulpine Marketing. We're getting the website ramped up with all of our other stuff, and then
Ryan Yost has done a great job with that. So,
does an absolutely phenomenal job there. The Innovation Center, and then the SBDC. And we're going to watch a quick commercial here about the SBDC.
Interested in doing business with the government? Helping businesses understand and win government contracts is an essential service of the Idaho PTAC Network. Our government contracting specialists can help you obtain registrations and certifications, prepare bids, and even match you with contracting opportunities from agencies that buy your goods and services. Want to learn more? Visit us online to get started on your path to success today.
Great. Encourage you to reach out to the SBDC if you're looking at doing business with the government. They've got some classes actually coming up this week. So go to the IdahoSBDC.org, and there's if you want to learn about doing business with the government, they've got the information on there. So we'd like to welcome Jared Blackham, and he's with a company called Crestworth. I was Crestview, but Crestworth Accounting, and he is our instructor for the QuickBooks class that we have starting next Monday. And he's been teaching. How many times have you taught the class? Is this like...
it's either 7 and 8 this year, or maybe 6 and 7.
6 and 7. I know that it's quite a bit.
It's been quite a while.
And I just I'm going to put him on the spot and just tell him that I'm doing all I can to knock him off this pedestal. He has by far the highest ratings of all the instructors of all the classes that we do. Last year, it made me happy that he got a 4-star rating.
My first and only, I think.
Yeah, it was. And it had nothing to do with Jared and his class. It had to do that we had to make some adjustments because of COVID last spring. And it fortunately for him, it had nothing to do with anything that he does. So, I mean, that many classes, and to have all 5-star ratings, Folks, if you're needing to do some QuickBooks, this is the time to do it. The class is $199 and it starts next Monday. And we'll put at the end, we'll put the graphic on that. We're going to go a few minutes over here because of, man, all this information that we're talking about. We got so much. But we've got some information here that we wanted to share with the businesses on some points for QuickBooks. So kind of, we're going to put the graphic up there with the quick tips. And if you want to go through those.
Yeah, certainly. So number one really is set up. I mean, lots of people go ahead and sign up for their QuickBooks class or sign up for their QuickBooks subscription and then don't really do much with it. QuickBooks is really good. It's one of the most popular small business ERP type systems for accounting. And it comes kind of in a package with a very default set of settings. And a lot of people just leave it that way. They don't really make the effort to do much more than that. But there are so many things that require just the little tweaks to customize it for your own business that it just really makes a difference if you can set it up properly.
If you want good results, you have to do good input, get you good output. And that's the one I tell people is get it set up by a professional, and then you're going to get good content of information. So I love that.
Absolutely, it definitely helps. There is a nuance to setting it up. It's not just like you dig it out of the box and you use it.
It is not something that you want to do that with. So.
Yeah, and number two is take advantage of the convenience features. QuickBooks is great. They have a bank feed. They have lots of different little nuances and pieces of technology they built into that software to really benefit the consumer. Yeah. You can do it remotely. You can hook your bank account directly to it. There's a lot of different things that just makes it so easy. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to, obviously I'm an accountant. We don't want to remove accountants from any of the pictures. We want that job security for a really long time. Yeah. But there are things you can do to definitely maximize and create some efficiencies at least in the accounting world to use the software. I mean, you pay for it, you might as well use it.
Yeah, you do. And it is the best program out there, but if it's not set up, and that's why, in this class that we have people that are, starting businesses to people that are in, intermediate, and you adjust to each one of those.
Absolutely, yeah. We try to cover all of the facets. We kind of talk about the class, who knows what, and what they do for their own industry, and then we try to build it from there. It's almost a customized class for almost every time.
It is very, very good.
Yeah, and number three on the list is to make sure you use it. And I speak specifically to the small business owners behind the scenes because the accountant may know what's happening in the business, but a lot of times they'll send a report to the owner, or they'll send a report to the board of directors, and it doesn't really get looked at. The profit and loss, the balance sheet, the cash flow, all of those reports are there and available to anybody who really is in the business that has authority to look at them. But if you don't look at them and you don't use them, you're very reactive to the situation. We talk about the market now with COVID, some of those things that are happening, knowing where your cash flow is, where your deficiencies are, the cyclical nature of your business, understanding every aspect of that is really important to try and survive any of these ups and downs and these upsets to the market.
Yeah, and in this class you'll learn how to run your business by your financials, and I tell people all the time that if you're a smart businessman, runs his business literally by his financials, and to learn out what is a P&L, what is a balance sheet, what are you looking for, how can you, and I just love how you can set them up to do comparisons to previous months, previous quarters, previous years, things like that, and the value of information that you can get from that is absolutely great. So.
It is. It's a wealth of information, and if you don't use it, it's just money on the table.
It is. You're probably losing a lot of money by not paying attention to it.
Yes, absolutely. Your bank account is not an accounting software. Yeah. And number four is really
that's probably knocking some people on the.
Unfortunately, that's a trend I see a lot. If there's money in the bank account, I'm doing well.
We've all looked at that. Yeah. If there's money in the bank, then things are good, and that's not how you should be running your money.
That's not how it should be done. There's better ways, for sure. And number four is don't get overwhelmed. I have a lot of people that come through the class, a lot of people I work with personally as a small business owner, where they're stressed. It's adding stress to their life. They can't run their business. They can't look at their accounting. It's a disaster. It's a mess. They just don't know what to do. Don't get overwhelmed. I mean, that software and accountants like myself and people on your team, they're there to help you. And it's not worth getting stressed about, because there are things that we can do to fix back history. We can clean up some of the mess. We can set it up right. Like, there's things that we can do. It's just not worth stressing over.
Is the class? Do you have to be QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop? Can both? If it doesn't matter which version, can they participate?
Absolutely. I mean, we've had both in the class. The class is set up to be more of a QuickBooks Online, because that is the trend. That is where people are kind of headed in the future. QuickBooks Desktop is a nice, robust system that people like, but there are some advantages and disadvantages of using either or.
Yep.
So, if you are a QuickBooks Desktop individual, we do have lots of information there that talks about general accounting, general business, and aspects of it that we can certainly talk about.
Yeah, very good. Well, we've the class, like we said, is $199, and we're going to give away 2 of these $50. So we've got a couple trivia questions on there, and good, the answer's not on there. So trivia question number 1. Now, here's what we want you to do. To win this, we want you to either call or email the Idaho Innovation Center, and there's the phone number coming up there. Call Tracy at 208-523-1026. Just hit 0 when a recording comes on. And first trivia question.
What does RBDC stand for?
RBDC. We had Will Jenson on here from the RBDC, and we mentioned it a couple times.
That's right, I wouldn't
if
have
you know, if you know what the RBDC stands for, call up and talk to Tracy. And the next one is who makes QuickBooks. It's not on the graphic here, but there's a company that makes it, and if you know that. It starts with an I word. Call Tracy.
Call Tracy.
And we're going to give you $50 off that class if you're interested in it, or you can give it to anybody that you want to. So,
was Tracy aware people are going to be calling?
I did actually notify her of that.
So. The class is great. We
Yeah.
really have a good time. People bring their food. They come, relax.
We've got some snacks that we
great
provide,
time.
and it's absolutely casual.
Absolutely.
You'll find him in his shorts.
Yeah, this is overdressed.
This
for
is
me
overdressed for
normally.
him.
Yeah.
So we encourage you to that if you use QuickBooks in your business, which I think most people do out there, that this is a great class for it. Come and check it out. And if you come to the first one and you find that it's not we're not going to charge you for it. But it's the lowest priced class you'll get for this quality and quantity of training. It's 5 nights from 6 to 9. That's 15 hours of training plus. I know they go a little over sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
So, but we encourage you, just like today, we're
maybe
quite a bit over
I'm
today.
the trend, maybe. Yeah.
So we have never been this delinquent in our stuff. But thank you for being with Talkin-Business.
Yeah.
Next week, go ahead.
Who do we got? Mike Infinger.
Mike Infinger from Entrepreneurs of Idaho.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. He started a great organization on Facebook.
Mike's
He's
a
got
great
a couple thousand followers, and the guy is, I think, one of those geniuses that I'm excited to have him.
Yep.
And then we've got some great shows. We've got the whole month of May planned out. We got a big show coming up on the 11th.
Yeah.
We'll be kind of talking about it the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a big show.
Deal.
Could it be the biggest person in business in Idaho that we're going to have? So it's
looking forward to it.
So May 11th. So thanks everybody for visiting Talkin-Business today. Get out there and make business happen. Have a great day.
Awesome.